Hello once again to Sound of Soul, which actually takes you to the high level of thinking and critically pondering your thoughts over the educational industry and how they are thriving in India. I hope you have listened to my third episode of Coaching Epidemic, which was Growing Demand. Moving to the fourth segment of Coaching Epidemic, Tutor versus National Education Policy. Let's see what we have under this. Tutor versus National Education Policy, also known as NEP. Successive governments and members of parliament have tried to tackle this tuition maniac over the years. Like for example, former MP from Uttar Pradesh, Mahendra Mohan, has introduced a private member bill, the Coaching Center Regulation and Control Bill in 2007 in the Rajya Sabha. Coaching centers are playing with the fate of lack of students and therefore the time has come to regulate and control their activities, stated the bill. In 2012, then Minister of State for Education D. Purandeshwari announced in Parliament that the government would bring a legislation to curb the maniac of coaching center. She called the coaching industry a monster, but the focus was on the high fees they charged to students. Whenever students enrolled in coaching classes died by suicide, a state government have promised to keep tabs on the industry. In 2015, after a spike in students' death in the tuition hub of Kota, Rajasthan, the Rajasthan government planned to regulate coaching centers. It took 4 years before a state level committee was finally constituted to prepare a draft for the new legislation. In 2022, there were reports that the government would bring in a law to not only regulate coaching center but also to safeguard students. A report in the Times of India said there would be provision against glorifying toppers. So far, no laws has been enacted, and that is what the problem is. We take long time. It takes a long time to put forward and to implicate such kind of law against all these big industries. Till date, Bihar is the only state in India that makes it mandatory for coaching institute to register themselves under the Bihar Coaching Institute Control and Regulation Act 2010. But its good intention has been diluted by the red tape and Inspector Raj. As we know what happens in Bihar, completely Gunda Raj, you can see. If the act had an impact in controlling the growth of the coaching centers, then their number would not be increased from 1,700 in 2010 to 4,200 in 2022. In Kerala, the State Commission for Protection of Child Rights is issued a directive to the government, either expand the Kerala Panchayat Raj Nagarpalika Act or make the new rule for the protecting the child's right in enrolling the private coaching centers. The need of the hour is to acknowledge this sector. We are talking about the coaching industry, right? So it's a time to actually acknowledge this sector as an industry and then bring legislation to regulate it. The sector brings revenue and employment and enhance the quality of education. Bureaucrats, MBBS doctors and IITians all contribute to this sector in the last 10 to 15 years. Senior education officials are banking on the new education policy to break the stranglehold that private tuition centers have over the education system. One of the objectives of NEP is to focus on regular formative assessment for learning rather than summative assessment that encourages today's coaching culture. The NEP encourages regional language in the school syllabus with a focus on overall development of a child. When we provide such holistic education, the demand for supplementary education will go down and there will be reform in the curriculum and examination system to correct this. At present, the law which was now embossed is National Education Policy. We still do not find such hardcore rules over the coaching institute. Still there are loopholes in Indian education system, and that we still can be found actually in the national education policy. Many private tuition teachers and managers of coaching classes says they are being painted unfairly as villain when all they doing is make up for the lacuna in the education system. Bigger and more well-known brand and coaching centers are edging out local teachers like Poonam, not just in metro cities but in small town as well. One major problem is that the school curriculum and its teachers are stuck in the old world. Yes, it's very important fact that the school curriculum is very old. It's like I think it is just like in 40s or 50s, the education system still continues. They still are actually in the past. They haven't been upscaled, or they haven't been upscaled their curriculum for the new hyper competitive era of jobless growth youth. Teacher is higher classes. Teacher actually who teaches the higher classes aren't evolving with time and technology. Is that what our teachers are? We have seen in the pandemic, right? Most of the teachers, the experienced teachers who were having experience in this business from 10 to 20 years, they were not able to cope up with the technology. Young parents below 35 years of age feel the need for extra classes for their children as they know from experience how competitive the industry has become, says the manager employee of Byju's in the tuition center of Hyderabad. They know the rising demand of this education industry. A decade ago, it was the familiar senior teacher from school who was trusted for giving tuition. Yes, we know that in our previous era, like we take the 20s, right? 20s, you can see that the tuition teacher would be actually the school teacher itself, and we would have trust on them. But the big private players has captured the market in metro and are now expanding their business to smaller cities across the country, due to which actually the senior teachers are losing the hope in education system. That was my thought on the growing industry of coaching. The part here, fourth segment related to tutor and national education policy. If you like this segment, please do comment in the chat box. I'll be waiting for your suggestion. Thank you for listening. Sound of Soul. Keep supporting, keep liking, and keep spreading the news of education world.